Hello, this is a Yamaha C3 Grand, that's 5'11", 180 centimetres long. It's just come into stock, so just seeing what sort of work we might need to do on the piano and to appreciate the piano too. So looking at the case, it's not perfect. We sold this piano in 2014 and it's come back in from the client. So you can't see very well on the video, I'm sorry about that. There's some scratching on the polyester and there's some small scratches around the side which the client pointed out. The client pointed out these scratches from removal. We have actually coloured them in. We need to disguise it a bit better than that, but we'll be doing that. We can redo that completely. Obviously it makes the piano slightly more expensive. Apart from that, the scratching is very minimal really, and the piano hasn't been hugely used, as we'll see from the hammers in a minute. This part here is fine. So the whole casework, as I say, the trouble with videoing the black polyester is that you just see the reflection in it. So you can usually see scratches on here, but there's not too scratched to indicate how much music's been put on there. Pedals are very low, which is very helpful because it means if you're a tall person, then you can put the caster cups under the casters if you want to get more height. And it's already 61.5, so that will give it an extra inch, and if you're tall, I'm sure that will be fine. The piano was sold by us in 2014 and the client sold it back to us, which is quite common in the piano trade. You get pianos back in. He was moving, I think, to a smaller place, so we're grateful obviously when that happens because there's less work to do on the pianos normally. As you can see, the tuning pins are perfect, they're very tight, but we'll see on this checklist that we do in a minute there's any comments I've made, but the piano's perfect, it's soundboarded, musically perfect. For a Yamaha Grand made in 1979, there's surprisingly little wear. The keys are very tight. We'd obviously check those and regulate them if they needed to be, but they don't. The centre here is surprisingly tight as well. And looking at the action, now we have found that the hammer blow is a bit too great, and as you'll see on the assessment sheet. So we've regulated that, turning the capstans here. That's the most common job to do, I would say, on the Grand, because the rollers wear slightly and then the hammers drop slightly, and also other felts compress, so they drop down. They're resting on here practically, as we mentioned many times before. So this should be a gap, and 47 is the normal blow distance, and it was about 51 or 52, so that's important to do. We also found actually that the drop screws needed adjusting. These are different style of drop screws. From most pianos have an ordinary screwdriver fitting adjustment here, but this is typical of Yamaha. This tool is useful for many things actually. It's useful on the Grands for adjusting let-offs too, but this is for drop screw here, and so we've adjusted those, and the drop is, let's see if I can show you that. Let's try lifting up one of the hammers here. So there we are, that one there is checking, and if we lift it we'll see what the drop is. Let's try this one. There we are. You see how close that one is, and we've got that one, the drop, closer there, so you can see the difference, and that just makes the piano more sensitive to play. See how little wear there is on the hammers. These are the mid treble range, and really just you can see the marks of the strings on the hammers, but no need to reface at all, just voicing. Another work that will make a major difference to the touch is this balance rail here is very stiff. So we've done a video of this where you lubricate with talc, and basically the hole underneath there needs lubricating. I won't show you on this one, but I'll try and link to another video which shows that. And they are really stiff, so if I lift the keys up like this, they should drop down. On new pianos they drop down, or nearly drop down at least. They require quite a lot of pressure to push them down, so that will make a lot of difference to the touch. It makes it slightly lighter and slightly smoother. So looking at the assessment sheet, the piano was already roughly concert pitch when it came in. Tuning pins are tight. There's some voicing to do on the hammers. Sorry, I had to Tipex that out. What I wrote for the drop I put here by mistake, but the let-off is good actually, and generally we're very pleased with the piano. There's lots of leg room for if you're a tall person, more so than most Yamaha Grands. I think the pedals are lower than average. They're normally about 6, or a lot of new pianos are 7, so there's quite a lot of scope for putting caster cups under to raise the height if you need to. So So there's a few scratches on the case. That's obviously devaluing the piano a little bit. Lubricating the balance rail is going to make a huge difference, and then fine voicing the hammers. We'll compare the tone of this with a new piano and one other, just to see if on the video you can pick that up. You can see the key weighting here, so a bit slightly heavy. So 52 would be normal, 59 so slightly heavier, 61, 52 is fine. So there's variety. I think lubrication is going to be the main way we're going to get that. I've done rough regulation here. This will go on the bench and the technical team will fine regulate the whole piano. See, that's 55 is slightly high, so 52 would be normal, 47 to 52, 24 gram up weight. Up weight is the maximum weight you can leave on and the key will still go up, so there's 24 grams there and it's just going up. So up weight to 24, there might be a slight variety in the keys, but that's good for the low up weight is generally good, and anything below 30 we could consider low for a Yamaha. The piano's got a generally bright tone at the moment, and some notes are brighter than others, like that one. So mark that on here as a B for bright, and there. If you buy the piano, we like to give you a checklist as well for using in the home, so you can mark anything on which you think might still need a bit of voicing. You tend to forget about it after a while, so when you first get the piano it's a good idea to look at that. So that one's slightly brighter. I don't know if you can pick that up on the video. And that one's also slightly brighter, so need to do a bit of voicing. So let's compare it with other pianos. This is a new 4-179, almost the same length. It's a mellower sound. This 4-ick's slightly mellower than the average 4-ick. They vary slightly, but obviously we can voice the hammers according to your taste. This is a fully restored Bechstein, made in 1899. So that's a Yamaha C3, made in 1979, 180 centimetres long, and it's a little bit on the bright side, I would say. But it's perfectly, obviously, personal taste. Jazz pianists tend to like a brighter sound. On the action, doesn't quite play as sensitively as I'd like it to, but the underlying tone is excellent. It's a very stable piano as well, of course. It's one of Yamaha's best periods, I believe, for tone I'm thinking of. Will play beautifully sensitively when we've worked on it. At the moment it's not so easy to press down. Second-hand Yamahas very often need a lot of work to get them really sensitive, and we've done some of the work obviously in 2014. We've learnt something in the last years since then, so we tend to do more work on them now. It goes on the workbench. I've done rough regulation, and when they get it on the workbench they'll obviously do very fine regulation. Beautiful tenor area. quarter pedal is well adjusted already, with a good contrast. The contrast tends to come when the piano's been played in, as this one has. If you're interested in the piano, please write to info@robertspianos.com. If you want to try the piano out for a while by renting it if you can't come in, then that's a possibility. Obviously it's more economical to buy straight and less administration for us, so more economical to just buy. If you can come in, that's ideal, but we do increasingly sell pianos without people coming in, but much prefer you to come in if you can. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that's helpful.